Welcome back to the Rich Carroll program. I'm your host, Rich Carroll. Well, if you haven't heard, there is going to be yet another vacancy in the Supreme Court. Justice Anthony Kennedy has announced his retirement, and it looks like the president is going to get another chance to leave his mark on the high court. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that the Senate would vote on a nominee this fall, so that means that it's going to be here before you know it, guys. Now, I remember the Supreme Court was a big reason so many people voted in the 2016 election. The Supreme Court was a major factor in people deciding whether they were going to vote for Donald Trump, whether they were going to vote for Hillary Clinton, or whether they were going to even vote at all. And I remember that I was very skeptical at the time of what Donald Trump was actually going to do should he be elected. But I look at what kind of justice Neil Gorsuch has been, and I realize that Trump, he did a pretty good job with that appointment. And I hope his next nominee is equally as good, if not better than Justice Gorsuch. And in my sources section, I have two stories that I wanted to share. One is from the Daily Signal, and the other from the Daily Wire. The one from the Daily Signal has the list of 25 names that Donald Trump is considering for the Supreme Court. This is the same list, I believe, that he used to pick Neil Gorsuch from. And the story from the Daily Wire has the top 5 names Trump is reportedly considering out of the 25. So I don't know a whole lot about these judges, but there is one name on that list that I feel pretty confident about. And I wanted to bring your attention to Senator Mike Lee. And when I think of the Constitution, and I think of people who defend it, Senator Mike Lee is always the number one or number two name that comes to my mind. He has a very solid voting record, and he's very mindful of what role the Constitution plays in our government. I mean, this guy was listening to Supreme Court cases at the age of 10, if that tells you anything. And another plus to Senator Lee is that Ted Cruz is backing him to be the next Supreme Court justice. And Cruz is another one of those that I usually trust when it comes to things regarding the Constitution. But if you want a window into what a Justice Lee might look like, might I recommend his book? This is Our Lost Constitution by Senator Mike Lee, obviously. But in this book, it was a great read, very, very easy to get through. And Mike Lee goes through several issues regarding the Constitution. Issues like Congress giving up its responsibilities to the executive branch, the origin and the importance of the Fourth Amendment, and even the Second Amendment. I mean, I probably have half of his chapter on the right to self-defense. I've got half that chapter highlighted because of the history and because of his understanding of your right to bear arms. This guy obviously has a strong understanding and a grasp of the original interpretation of the Constitution, the interpretation that the framers intended it to have. And I don't know if the president is seriously considering Mike Lee or not, and I understand that a Justice Lee would leave a huge void in the Senate, but Mike Lee could help change the face of this nation for the better. And I just wanted to point out that there might be a way that you could let the president know if you think Mike Lee should be the nominee. If you go to, whitehouse.gov/contact, you can send a message to the White House that hopefully makes it to the president. You could also try and get the president's attention by using his favorite outlet, Twitter. And you know, if you see him tweeting or whatever, you can tweet at him, and who knows, he might see it. It's worth a shot. So I hope this brings you up to speed a little bit. I know I certainly approve of Mike Lee as a Supreme Court justice, and if you think this issue is important, then I encourage you to make your voice heard as well. And who knows, if enough of us speak out, we might be able to tip the president towards a Justice Mike Lee. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. I'm Rich Carroll. God bless.